Hey folks, welcome to this week's show. This week's show is sure to be a lot of fun. I'm with my good friend Jason Webster, and it is bitter, bitter cold. We are chasing mountain state coyotes, and it's sure to be a lot of fun. So sit back, get your drink, get some popcorn, get your Webster's Predator Control gear on, and sit back. This is trapping time.
Well, look who I got out of bed this morning to go check traps.
Right where I caught my first coyote. Welcome to Trap 101.
It just never gets old seeing those dogs bouncing. This is my story. This is my time. This is trapping time.
Well, guys, we're trapping in West Virginia this week, and this has been like no other week that I've ever had to trap in West Virginia. Between the weather, the snow, we've been fighting ice and rain the entire time we've been here. Seems like every time we do get the traps working, we either get a shot of rain on top of everything, and just the ice and the temperatures. Animals have been kind of slow coming this week, but we've been trying to keep our traps working, keeping moving forward on our line. This morning, first traps we rolled into, we finally connected on a West Virginia coyote. Typical coyote for this area that we trap in, he's got a good rub spot right between his shoulders. Kind of all of our eastern coyotes are like that. But where we set this at, we're actually off the back of an old well pad up here behind the camera up on the ridge. And we have a road that skirts around the top of this end of the hollow, comes down through, and there's one that comes down in behind this way, and then they meet here, and then they branch off again. One goes down through this big hardwoods hollow, and one runs this ridge all the way out for a long ways. So we come in here, this kind of just screamed an ideal place to set a coyote set. So we sunk one in here, and we got one over there. Now, these sets have been here for about a week, and we haven't seen a track in the snow, nothing, all week long since we've been here. So, but it's one of those places that if you put your time in and you keep your sets working, this is the kind of result you can get from it. And we rolled in here this morning, had this coyote, and got to looking around, and actually, for the first time, we've seen a set of bobcat tracks come down to one road, and there was actually some more coyotes that come, or another set of coyote tracks that come down over the other one, and actually just missed the other trap pan by less than probably about a ½ inch. So we were within a ½ inch of having our first double of the week. So we're going to go ahead and get him dispatched and get him out of here, and I'll show you what we're going to do to get this set put back in.
Now folks, this coyote here, this property that we were trapping, a good friend of mine, Jeff Longwell, Wetzel County, West Virginia, just outside 100, he had been telling me he'd had some coyote issues up there, and he had asked us to come up, and we were planning our West Virginia line, and we kind of had this one off to the side, you know, in the middle of, you know, when you're planning a line, you know, you got to space it out. You got to make sure that you're not backtracking and everything, and this location just fit. When we went out there, we saw 0 coyote sign. And but what we did see, and what way you got to trap a lot up here is trap these locations. We look for prime locations and just wait them out. And as you can see, it really worked out for Jason. Now, mind you, I had a trap about 10 feet away, and it kind of kicked me in the butt a little bit. You know, I'm the coyote master, and Jason, he snagged this coyote first on me, and But when we come back from the break, Jason's gonna show you his remake and how he put that coyote in the back of the truck bed.
From the hills of West Virginia, Smokey's Deer Lures presents the first and only real pre-orbital gland lure in the world. Applying pre-orbital gland lure to a licking branch will allow you to take a complete inventory of the bucks at your favorite hunting spot. Get yours at smokiesdeerlure.com.
Well, you see, trappers are a special breed of people. We're dedicated, committed, and passionate about what we do and who we are. Each and every one of us has an intense desire to be the very best we can. So in the world of skinny jeans, man buns, and pumpkin spice lattes, sometimes you just have to stop, push back, and tell the world, that's not me. Whether you're from the far north or in the deep south and anywhere in between, Southern Snares can help you succeed at getting the job done and being who you are.
All right, we got the coyote out of the set. We're going to try to get it put back in. Now, like I was saying earlier, because we're on this road, when I come in here, there was a bush of tuft grass that stood out like a sore thumb right here. Wasn't necessarily the ideal bedding conditions because I am right on the edge of the road with the rock and everything. Needless to say, with the coyote being caught in here, this was our bush that I originally set on. We're going to get all this cleaned up from around the area and try to build back up that eye appeal in the back. Again, he's got it kind of straddled everywhere. Work fine, our bed, it's in here. Now we cut it out with the cookie cutter, so we still got our basic shape. He's just kind of got the edges kind of rolled down in a little bit, so we're just going to kind of reshape it here. Try to get all that grass and weeds back up out of there. I beat a little bit more of a bowl into the bottom of this just because with the ground being frozen and with the weather and everything coming, the snow and stuff, kind of gives us a little bit more of an area for any water or runoff or anything comes down over this frozen ground to go. Now the biggest problem we've been having this week with the freezing and thawing, the temperature getting up just enough to where it melts a little bit, isn't the peat moss freezing on top. The biggest issue we've been facing and having to overcome is that moisture and freezing coming up out of the ground from the bottom. So to combat that, we just take a little bit of fresh peat moss, that dry peat moss, and line the bottom of that hole like an insulator to kind of guard against that moisture coming up out of there. You want to kind of look over your swivels, the dog on the trap, make sure everything still moves free. I'm using a Duke No. 2 square jaw. I started using these actually when they first come out, and I've kind of fell in love with them. It's more of a personal preference. I just kind of like the square jaw. We're going to set this back in our bed, and the way I normally set them is I want that levers going towards our attractant. So that way when he's stepping in there, he's got to step between the jaws so that when that trap comes up, it comes up on the sides of his paws. You want to kind of just base that down in there, kind of wiggle it, push it down in there. Not have it go off on your fingers while you're doing it, especially as cold as it is. But bed that down in there, and that trap's rock solid in the bottom there, so there's no movement when he comes in here. Take our peat moss. This hole's kind of wallered out a little bigger than what I like, so we're going to end up with the peat moss out a little bit more. You really want to try to keep that peat moss just inside those jaws, but kind of give him a little bigger spot. We got kind of a bowl formed in here, so it's kind of a low spot for our trap. Just kind of duff up them edges a little bit. That way we don't have such a sweet spot stand out. Make sure we don't get any of that ice laying on top of it to start with. Kind of knock some of that duff around and blend it in so there's not such a sweet spot right there. And I think, find where our hole is. Right there it is. Just kind of had a mouse hole punched in there. Nothing big, just enough something to get our bait and our lure down it. something he'd have to try to work at to get him out, to keep him here as long as we can. We're going to put a little bit more of our Webster's Predator Control 303 bait down that hole. If I can get a hold of it here. Now, as far as coyote lure, this time of the year, they are mating. Right now, this whole place smells like a dog. We're not going to focus so much on the coyote set right now because we have the natural thing here right now. But with these super cold temperatures, what I am going to do to try to help reach out in case anything's coming down that other road right behind us here, I'm going to use a little bit of our LDC lure, our long distance call lure. Just need a little piece about the size of a bean. Kind of rub that up under that tuft of grass a little bit to try to let out a little stronger odor, especially with these cold frigid temperatures. I think right now, when we got out of the truck, it was 17 out here. So, got a little fresh present from our coyote. We'll lay it back there for a little bit extra attractant. And that's our remake on this West Virginia dog.
Now, Jason's got a very unique style that makes him very successful. You know, a lot of times when we're out there trapping together, one of the reasons that he or, you know, even I catch one ahead of him and he catches one ahead of me is because our the way we make our sets a little bit different. And sometimes it's just that little bit of variety that'll set those coyotes off and make them work your set. When we come back from the break, we're headed with Roger Montgomery on the Trapping Time Set of the Week.
Duke Traps has the most complete product line of game traps in the world. Check out the full line of body grippers for beaver, raccoon, muskrat, and more. Duke has homeowners covered as well with a full line of standard and heavy-duty live cage traps. Duke has over 30 models of animal control devices that can help you with your trapping needs. Duke now offers the number 550 and larger 650 coil springs, plus their newly developed number 2 dogless for catching coyotes. Get more information at duketraps.com. Duke, America's best trap value.
Hey folks, be sure to check out our all-star lineup for the upcoming season. New for 2018 is the hard-hitting Blackout Predator bait. If you're looking for a beaver-based bait with some kick, this is it. We're also proud to add to the batting order our line of mouse-based baits. If you're looking for a mice bait so pure it's practically eating cheese in the container, then you will want to try Peyton's Pretty Mouse. Maybe you're looking for a bait with some long-range appeal for those cold winter nights, then you've got to try Peyton's Dirty Mouse. When you're serious about trapping predators like we are, then be sure to make your next purchase at TrappingTimeTV.com.
Hey, what's going on? I come over here to do this remake from where I caught the fisher. So I'm going to change the trap out. I got a Duke number 3 that I'm going to put in, and I caught that fisher on a Duke number 2 dogless. But I'm going to reset here and see if we can't catch something else coming up this old logging road. I got this old, there's no logging road that comes up through. It's on top of a ridge. Down, all the way down through like this is a logging road. But yeah, this is really the only way they can travel. So that's why I kind of picked this spot right here at this tree. And I'm just going to build everything up here and do the remake on it. But alright, y'all just stick around here. Get all this stuff packed down around in here where it won't move. I don't use a pan cover or nothing. Covered up with my peat moss. Here's my dirt hole. I'm just going to gather up all this junk that was laying here and just pack it around it, and we'll see what we can come up with some bait here. Caught that fisher on Bailey Hollow and back 40. So I don't know if I ought to change it up or not. But yeah, here in West Virginia we're only allowed one fisher, so I don't think I'm going to use the Bailey Hollow. I'll throw a little Peyton's Pretty Mouse in there. This little intruder. That right there is pretty much the way I set it and caught that fisher. So like I said, we're going to try this Duke number 3, and I mean, if you look, there's only one possible way. This is right on top of the ridge, so one way they can come through. So let's see what happens. We'll check her tomorrow.
Hey folks, Robby Gilbert here, host of Trapping Time TV. Hard to believe, Season 5. We'd like to give a big shout out to all the fans who made this possible. To show our appreciation, we're offering 10% off our entire website from now until December 31st, 2019. Just enter coupon code TRAP10. We carry a full line of trapping supplies such as Duke traps, Webster's Predator Control baits and lures, Sawmill Creek, Trap Set Supply, Old South lures, Night Owl lures, and many more. Before your next trapping purchase, enter TRAP10 and take advantage of all the great deals at TrappingTimeTV.com.
From the hills of West Virginia, Smokey's Deer Lures presents the first and only real pre-orbital gland lure in the world. Applying pre-orbital gland lure to a licking branch will allow you to take a complete inventory of the bucks at your favorite hunting spot. Get yours at Smokey'sDeerLure.com.
Thanks for the tips, Roger. Really appreciate it. Hey guys, if you pay attention to that little tip there from team member Roger Montgomery, I'm sure it's going to put more fur in your shed. Now let's get back to the coyote action and see if Robby can put one in the bed of the truck. Well, we're fighting our West Virginia trap line, and came up here yesterday, and I was able to look down over the hill, and I seen Jason. He'd caught a pretty nice coyote, and I'll just be honest with you. I looked at the camera and said, I'm really not liking it that Jason's catching coyotes, and I'm not catching coyotes. So we got us a really nice coyote out here, just a jumping around. Now, there was a little bit of discussion between Jason and I. He goes, I don't think you're very happy because I don't think that's your trap, because I had a log that you could see from the other end of the hillside, and I don't think I'm going to be disappointed. Not that I don't want my friend catching coyotes, but I'm pretty sure this is my trap. So, guys, this has been an uphill fight, fighting this weather. My God. We've been on this set location here for 8 to 10 days, I believe, and nothing. No sign, nothing, and then we just happened to get, yesterday we came in here, Jason caught the coyote, and this place was just littered with tracks. And as I'm driving up through here, now we had a heavy snow last night, and there were tracks everywhere. And it's a prime example. You got to keep these traps working. Not a real big dog, but a dog nonetheless. This little gate location right here, if Jason could pan around there and get a look at it, this little gate location here, we just knew it was going to be a good spot. There's all kinds of coyote fur in that bottom strand there, but they just weren't in here at the time, and we finally got lucky enough to make it happen. So we're going to get out of here, get this coyote dispatched, and then get the set remade and get on down the line.
All right, guys, like I was talking about, so we got a big hardwood ridge right here, and if you look right there, there's an old pass-through gate, a wire gate. You got all these heavy trees. It's just a natural corridor for these coyotes to want to come out. Jason's actually set right in the middle here, right off the side where that little stick's at, and I set here on the right. We started poking sticks and stuff in the ground because we've been digging our sets out all the time. We're having trouble finding them. I had this chunk of log in there, and I use it as my backing, and obviously it worked for us on this one here. Nice coyote, tickled to death to catch it. We got a lot more traps to check, so hopefully we finally started something here, because it's been stressful time out here on the trap line. So, all right, let's get this young dog out of here, and we'll get this set remade. All right, so we dispatched this coyote here, and we got a little bit of blood, which with this snow that's coming, it's not going to bother me too much. We're going to reset right back in the same exact spot. Now, we had a dirt hole in here. I had a little bit of night owl's coyote gland on this little chunk of wood here. Well, obviously, we're not going to need that now, because I'd had a 30-some pound dog here all night. When me and Jason pulled up, I could smell the dog. But we also had bait in here. We're going to take and use a little bit of our back 40. So instead of trying to find my hole again, I'm going to make a new one. We're going to take some of our trapping time back 40 and put down in there. I really like this stuff when it's weather's like this, because it's a little bit louder and can really get their attention. Try to get that down in as far as you can. We're going to pull this chunk of wood back up here. We're going to use it as our backing. This coyote's been chewing this thing up all night. There's all kinds of smell here, and we're going to use this just like we did the first time when we caught him. We're going to use it to bring him in. Now, a lot of times what I like to do, pull this out of here real quick. So you've got all this matted snow around here. When you really think about it, it changed the whole landscape of everything. We're going to come in here and try to kick it out again. We don't want any hard spots. We don't want anything that's unnatural. So I like to kick this around. When we get to this blood, I'm going to do the same thing with it. Just kick it around. If anything, especially when the weather's like this, I've found that this blood is actually a pretty good attractor at times. This snow is going to cover most of this up, but the smell will still be here. Just kick that all around there. And then I've got this little ledge at the top. I don't like it. A lot of guys will leave it there, kind of make them step down in. I try to keep everything as flat and natural as possible. And there you go. That's the finished remake on this West Virginia coyote. It's been tough sailing. You can ask Jason, this is probably the hardest week of trapping we've ever put in. But finally, our hard work's finally starting to pay off.
Now, you know I couldn't let Jason outdo me on this property. You know, where I had made this set at, it was just a prime location, you know. And, you know, not that we don't like tooting our own horn and taking credit where credit's due, but sometimes if you're just in the right spot, them coyotes are going to work that set. And where Jason and I, we had just found 2 prime locations on this farm. We were trapping about 100 acres, and we had 4 traps out. That was it. One of the things I hear from a lot of guys, you know, how many traps are you running, you know, on 100 acres? And when I tell them 4 or 5 or maybe 6, they look at me like I got 3 heads. And guys, you can catch just as many coyotes in 4 sets in good locations as you're going to if you carpet bomb the whole property. And the 2 catches that Jason and I had this week, and I mean, we're talking some of the most brutal weather you've ever experienced. I mean, we were single digits. I mean, there were some mornings, you know, we all love to trap. We all think we're diehard trappers. But there were some mornings, you know, I was kind of hoping maybe Jason wouldn't be there at daylight so we'd go check our line. Maybe we'd put a little bit of time off and maybe go eat breakfast. But we did, and we trudged through it. And probably one of the best trapping experiences I've ever had to put up the numbers that we did in that kind of weather. It just solidifies that we kind of know what we're doing. And but great experience. Big thank you to Jeff Longwell for letting us trap his property. Hopefully the invitation's back every year. We was able to go in there and take a few coyotes out, maybe help out his fawn population. We did see a very nice buck there that one morning, so hopefully he made it through the winter and with no issues. Hey folks, be sure to join us next week. We're headed back with team member Jake Middlebrooks, and it's going to be an exciting show, I guarantee it. Like we always say, we're keeping the tradition alive here at Trap.